OneDrive tablet. A lot of options are available. That also helps the customer to improve the adaptability. Okay, now comes the most important question. How do I implement the cloud's CX application or a solution? Okay, so this is some of the cloud queries which we ask to ourselves as well as to the customers when we are doing a kind of consulting to make them understand what the next steps they need to do. Okay, a SaaS implementation for ERP and CRM is a big deal, right? So far we talked about it's easy and all this, but at the same time I wanted the customer to understand it's a great transformation which they're going through, right? It's a big deal and they want to give the complete importance to this exercise. Okay, so but before even talking about implementing, some of the questions which we need to ask to the customer is that what applications are involved, right? It's not just the cloud CRM, right? I need to also have a lot more other applications to be integrated. And where is the data stored? Okay, for example, as you know, in the cloud CRM, you will be automatically storing the data in the vendor-provided database. But other data, right? How it's going to flow to my system? What kind of response time is needed? Okay, so one thing which is very important, why we should go for a reliable vendor is the reason is that for an Oracle or SAP or a Microsoft, they have a lot of capability to set up the data center and also able to expand the infrastructure as and when required. So the response time is actually directly proportionate to the amount of infrastructure capability the vendor has, right? So if, for example, normally I would say a window of a maintenance over 4 hours within a 3 months time is something is acceptable. But if you're having an issue week on week where the vendor sends you a message saying that we are actually going to do some maintenance, then the business which are running 24/7 will have a major impact. And batch data updates tend to be relatively easy, and we try to make sure that what is going to be a batch data, what is going to be a real-time integration, right? And and one more thing which we need to also understand is that even though there is nothing like a compulsion to go for the same system vendor for all the cloud-based applications. Say, for example, you have something HCM running on Fusion, you have CRM running on a Salesforce, right? But what would happen normally here is that if there is a different time window of maintenance, right, and it becomes it becomes difficult to make sure when they have an integration where the one vendor has a downtime and the other vendor has an uptime. So when you try to integrate, there's possibly little failure. So when you're doing a cloud alignment strategy, make sure you select the right vendor who could provide a lot of these cloud-based applications. So cloud ERP and cloud CRM, be it with one single vendor, it would give you some advantage. And what are the security requirements, right? So a lot of, for example, the banks, for a bank, the security requirements are different. For a consumer goods company, the security requirements are different. So it is also good to talk to the particular system vendor to understand would they be able to provide a particular security requirement which is reliable to their industry. And most important question is that how much customization do you need, right? As I said, in the cloud-based, you have a provision to do the customization, but not that whatever you want to customize, it will be actually be taken by the vendor. So there could be some rejection because it may not fit the best practice. Okay, so you should understand, and that's where an SI comes in place. Actually, it would help you what could be customized and what could be the out-of-the-box functionality that could be used. And a lot more other questions. The most important question which is asked in the cloud CRM space today is that how do I integrate my application with the enterprise application? So you should also understand the cloud integration platforms which are available today and which particular vendor whom you are going with is providing you the right platform. Say, for example, if you take an Oracle, the Fusion middleware is now being used as an authenticated integration platform for the Fusion CRM, right? So they have not only the CRM application, they are also giving you a provision for you to integrate. So when you license that, it gives you takes care of the complete flexibility which you would get for an enterprise CRM. Okay, so what are the next steps actually? What I should be doing? Then, see, as I said, for any project, right, not only on a SaaS or a cloud project, where you need to spend a lot of your time and a lot of your energy is during the design and plan phase. That's where the best of the brains, both from the SIs as well as from the customer, has to come together. And it requires an operating model for a medium and large SaaS installation comes as a surprise to many executives who are expecting a quick returns from SaaS. But you cannot sidestep the exercise of creating an implementation governance structure and operating model for SaaS. Okay. So you would have heard about a lot about the data governance structure, and there's a lot more governance team which comes into a transformation project. Like that, it's also good to have a governance structure within the organization, because the cloud is something new, right? And it requires a constant reinforcement both from the executive team as well as the operational team to understand more about the cloud, right? So for that, you need to have a governance team. As they expand, even though the product is taken care by the vendor, the governance team will understand which direction we are taking, right? Or the particular vendor is supporting me, or my team is supporting me. Do we have the right IT capability within the organization? That's all has to be evaluated. Okay, and as I mentioned, one thing in the cloud which gives you a lot of flexibility is to develop the UIs. As I mentioned, most of it are actually the functional setups, because all these screens are being pre-built. That is, say for example, it is not like when you develop a Siebel or SAP or Microsoft, you should start with each screen and start developing the framework, the fields, the logic and all this. So majority of it is already available in the cloud, right? So you will try to make sure you follow the right setups to configure the application. And as I mentioned, the most important part here is the integration. So when you chalk out the cloud strategy, make sure which are all the integration strategies and platforms which you're going to use. Okay, so the last come is that once you're done with your implementation and you are onto the application, the most important thing is that you should start evaluating the application, right? And see where are the places where you could improve the application performance.